Thailand. Bill Colby went to talk to him in the field, and he spent a whole day explaining the system and showing the proof and showing, and they were going to have to reevaluate their understanding of Thailand. Colby went back to Bangkok, flew back to the States. The next day, McGee was called down to Bangkok, presuming he was going to get another award or be told he was in charge of installing the system. They gave him his plane tickets. He flew immediately.
We just had, at the time of this filming, it was just a few days ago, there was an incident at a Walmart in Long Island the day after Thanksgiving, where basically people were lining up for a sale, 5 in the morning, and one of the workers there was crushed.
Back to Washington and was given a non-job because his information was cutting the struts out from under the rationale for the 17,000-man army that Colby was building with the Hmong people. If the truth were known, the army wouldn't be justified. If McGee had been allowed to develop his information and report the truth, the Congress could not have been persuaded to develop this army and do.
Was actually trampled to death by these shoppers. And when the ambulance arrived or whatever it was to take the poor guy to the morgue or the hospital or wherever they're going to take, they didn't want to get out of the way. They said, we've been waiting here for 5 in the morning. I'm not leaving.
This war they wanted to do. So they took him and stuck him in a non-job. And so went his career. You could not produce good intelligence. Now he gives an analysis for how the Vietnam War got started, in terms how the CIA convinced, I won't go into it now, I doubt if we have the time, but
so that would be the consumer society at its finest. And oddly enough, exactly to the day 5 years ago, on that day, day after Thanksgiving, the same thing happened at a Walmart in Orlando. It was not a worker, it was a woman who was shopping there. And she wasn't killed, but she was trampled unconscious, and people wouldn't get out of the way for the medics.
Incredible the way they manipulated the disinformation and the propaganda to get the North Vietnamese Catholics terrified of communists. You know, the 1,000 pregnant women that were ripped open, and they were Catholic pregnant women, you know, so the Catholics fled south. There were no atrocities, there were no women really ripped open, it was propaganda.
So when you get finally to that point, this is what Marcuse was talking about, and the whole idea of one-dimensional man and so on, was this tremendous emptiness again. And so I'm going to buy things.
Then the American people could identify with Vietnamese Catholics. They could not identify with Vietnamese Buddhists. And so we get involved in sympathy for these Catholics who are fleeing communism and the war. He goes into this. He also explains the CIA's operation in Indonesia.
To fill that emptiness up. And then we see the religious power of it. Because if the medics arrive basically to take the corpse away or the body of the hospital, and you're not going to get out of the way because you're going to save $50 on a DVD player. That suggests something has gone fundamentally wrong.
Everybody's looking restless. Oh, that's an 8.
Where we killed, the CIA killed 800,000, I mean, he set things in motion that killed 800,000 people, and then wrote an external report in the form of a book, False Flag, not, attributed to the government, called Indonesia 1965, a coup that and then an internal report, which was classified top secret, which said that this was a model covert action because it had not only broken an effective national communist party, it had eliminated the entire ethnic segment of the population that supported it. The Indonesian Chinese, it had killed them all, and it put the figure at 800,000. I've heard
I think there's not much difference between assuaging your anxiety by buying things and investing in the American dream. They seem to go hand in hand.
The American dream,
as high as $1.5 million.
the New York Times said 500,000 to $1.5 million. The CIA figure was 800,000, bragging about it, that it claimed its operation had killed. And he also points out how among people who were being used by Colby and the CIA,
is a story about how society works. The American dream says that if you work hard, you will succeed.
Now, the bedrock of our economic success is the American dream. It's a dream shared in big cities and small towns, across races, regions, and religions, that if you work hard,
exactly the same way the mosquitoes are being used today, now don't exist as people. They were decimated means 1 in 10 killed. It's the other way around. 9 in 10 were killed in this thing. So the people that don't exist.
John, you've been traveling.
you can support a family. That if you get sick, there will be health care that you can afford. That you can retire. That you can retire with the dignity and security and respect that you've earned. That your children can get a good education and young people can go to college even if they don't come from a wealthy family.
And so
Around lecturing about the CIA the last year, how has the audience received your critiques of the CIA, and do you see a sort of consensus growing that perhaps the CIA is out of line, should be reformed, perhaps eliminated, or is there still a lot of support for the CIA in the audiences that you've been talking to?
I have substantial crowds come, and the lectures normally start.
says we might start off with different positions. There are people who are rich and there are people who are poor, and they're born into different kind of contexts, but the playing field is level. That's the dream. That's the dream of pulling yourself up by your own bootstraps. The problem with that is actually at odds with how social.
Start at 7:30, 7:30, and normally there's a large portion, 80% of the audience, still there at midnight or 1 o'clock. People are so concerned. People have read this and heard that, trying to sort through the disinformation, having, in some cases, they're very sophisticated.
Social mobility actually is much more based upon class and upon the resources that you have available to you into which you're born.
Hi, I'm Paris Hilton, and you're here for the fit on MySpace. Let's go check out my shoe closet first.
Some people have a deep, abiding respect for the natural beauty that was once this country. And some people don't. People start pollution. People can stop it. Write for Pollution Booklet, Box 1771, Radio City Station, New York.
Very